As of now, all our fighters can do and all they do is hold the city as best they can, exerting absolutely inhuman, titanic efforts. Despite some agreements or disagreements between the US, Russia, the European Union, NATO, we still need help, in particular military help, because no matter what, the fighting continues, the fighting does not stop, this power is enormous.
Last night, did they give you the sense that President Putin still wants to end the war, wants to make peace?
It's a war that should have never been started. It's a war, if I were president, we had a rigged election. If I were president, that war would have never happened. It's a terrible thing. But I thought they had a very good meeting yesterday with President Putin. We'll see what happens. It's, when I was in this office and I talked about no cards, I said, you have no cards. That was the time to settle. He would like to end the war. That was their impression.
Days after capturing the key Ukrainian city of Pokrovsk, Russia is now reportedly eyeing a nearby frontline metropolis, broadening its offensive ambitions in the region. According to reporting attributed to Bild, around 5 Ukrainian brigades have been virtually encircled in the town of Myrnohrad, a claim that has been echoed by Russian state media outlets. Significantly, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has publicly denied that Ukrainian forces in the area have been encircled, insisting that the front remains contested and fighting continues. Barely a street appears to be untouched in Myrnohrad, which is located in Donetsk region, with images and eyewitness accounts describing heavy damage to homes, roads and public buildings. Russia is reported to control almost every building along the corridor between the town of Dmitrov and the parts of Donbas that are still held by Kiev, tightening pressure on Ukrainian units. Myrnohrad lies just about 12 kilometers from Pokrovsk, the key logistics hub recently claimed by Russia, making it especially vulnerable as the front line shifts. Russian forces have effectively cut off all major supply routes to the roughly 1,000 Ukrainian troops still believed to be defending positions in and around Myrnohrad. Citing Russian media, a Ukrainian serviceman said the situation in the Donbas town is critical, describing constant assaults and serious shortages of ammunition and support. The same serviceman criticized the actions of some Ukrainian commanders, arguing that many units were deployed into the area without a clear plan to sustain or reinforce them. He added that despite the presence of numerous Ukrainian units, the army has still failed to maintain control over key supply routes, allowing Russian forces to isolate the town. On December 2, President Vladimir Putin said Kiev was trying to counterattack and retake Pokrovsk, but claimed Ukrainian leaders were merely sending soldiers to their deaths in futile assaults. The Pokrovsk-Myrnohrad sector has been one of the most intense battlegrounds over the last few months, with both sides pouring in troops and artillery to try to break the stalemate.
By the nature of the fighting, firstly, there is constant shelling, constant bombing of the city with everything that is available, this is artillery and mortars, and a huge number of guided aerial bombs. Let's just say that the Russians obviously see that they are weaker than us in terms of personnel. That is, shooting contacts end mostly badly for them, so apparently they are trying to wipe the city off the face of the earth. As of now, all our fighters can do and all they do is hold the city as best they can, exerting absolutely inhuman, titanic efforts. Despite some agreements or disagreements between the US, Russia, the European Union, NATO, we still need help, in particular military help, because no matter what, the fighting continues, the fighting does not stop, this power is enormous. In order for the West not to go to war with Russia after a certain time, the West must certainly help us in any possible way.
For Putin, firm control of the Donbas region is seen as one of 3 non-negotiable pillars of any eventual peace deal, according to multiple reports. However, this demand runs directly counter to Zelensky's red line of preserving Ukraine's territorial integrity, which explicitly rejects ceding Donbas to Moscow. In the Kremlin's narrative, controlling Donbas is presented as proof that Russia is protecting Russian-speaking populations and defending them from alleged discrimination. From a historical perspective, control over Donbas would restore Russian influence over territory that was tightly integrated with Russia during the Soviet era. Strategically, holding Donbas would secure a land corridor linking Russia proper to occupied Crimea and the Sea of Azov, solidifying Moscow's grip over the south. That territory would significantly expand Russia's ability to project power into southern Ukraine and across the Black Sea, reshaping the regional military balance. By maintaining control over Donbas, Moscow also gains leverage over Kiev's future political alignment, making it harder for Ukraine to fully integrate with NATO and the European Union.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.